Yay,
Wow. Thank you, Kristen. That was such a wonderful, all the things that she said, I wondered who she was talking about. So you'll know. Good morning, everyone. It's an honor to be able to share with you. I have just, I loved Kristen and watched her, and she is a wonderful example of what Mary Kay I know would want in one of her daughters. I was surprised she shared that you guys had never met Mary Kay, and that gave me an understanding of why Mary Kay said that we were to carry on her legacy. But let me first tell you how I always introduce myself. And I learned in Mary Kay it's very important. I had I guess, the pleasure, the honor, the gift of being trained by Mary Kay herself personally. And that, I think, is something that we never, ever lose sight of. But one of the things that I learned in Mary Kay from some of the directors and nationals who trained me was the use of positive affirmations, but also to have an introduction of yourself that I always said was biblical. It calls those things that be not as though they were. And so I'm going to tell you who I am. First, I'm living my dream, believing God for things that are unseen, building bridges of faith, hope, and love, walking in favor because of blessings from above. Changing lives is our mission, and pleasing God is our aim, and giving Him glory is our claim to fame. I am the highly motivated, totally resilient, always positive because that's my prerogative. Now, National Sales Director Emeritus, Bettye Bridges. And I share that with you guys. Thank you so very much. I share that because it's important that you understand that you are the only challenge you're going to ever have, and you are the best friend you're going to ever have. I know that being a part of the Vision National area is a bonus for you guys. You have no idea what it's like to have a real woman of God who stands up for what she believes in, leading your area. And I believe that all the national sales directors are really chosen by Mary Kay, even though she's not here now. The company still bears Mary Kay. And I became a consultant in a meager way, I think. But one way I will share with all of you, because you are leaders, is that I was a referral. I had never had a Mary Kay facial. In 1977, my sister was what I call today a professional hostess. She loved hosting parties for her consultants. So I want to share that one thing. If you haven't developed a professional hostess program in your unit, do so. You'd be surprised. Mary Kay always said that hostess promotions built your business. So I'll share more about that later. But when I signed on, the consultant was very consistent, praise God, because she wrote me letters and called me. And it's important to know that we don't always say yes the first time. She came to Michigan to visit my sister, and shopping was my sister's favorite, is today my sister's favorite thing. We were going shopping, so I didn't have time to sit and listen to her. But she persevered. And years ago, we had what now would be a jamboree, I guess, in Chicago, where I lived in, and she came and visited. Now, mind you, the teacher and me, I fill out forms like I'm told to, I follow direction. So I sent her back the application she gave me, but I didn't send the money because she didn't say in the note to send her the money. That may sound crazy, but those are my meager beginnings. So she came to Chicago for a workshop, invited me downtown to meet her director, who at the time was a woman named Maureen Porter, who was Fran Cicolo, a national director emeritus best friend, and my senior director at the time. They were her two best friends. And she came down. Maureen saw the application and said, Bettye, why don't we get you signed up tonight? And I said, what would it take? And mind you, she didn't close me. So most of the time we aren't closing when we're doing things, even as leaders sometimes. And of course I signed up. The history of that is I wrote the check. I didn't have a penny in the bank at that time. I'm letting you guys know, but it didn't bounce because I made sure. But I wanted to be a part of that. And the reason I signed is so simple that it's unbelievable. Before they had dinner, they went upstairs to the hotel room where the directors were, and I saw her give a ring to a consultant in recognition. And so I said, ooh, I can win jewelry in my mind. So that is why I signed. I've taught my consultants for years, the reason you sign and the reason you stay oftentimes is so different. So because you all leaders, you know this because you've lived it. You know the reason you signed on and why you stayed. And as part of my story, I want you to know when Kristen read that about I became a consultant in 77, a director in 87, that was the second time. Mary Kay always used to say, we fail forward to success. And I'm the poster child for that. Okay? Because many times I did so many things that seemed to be failure, but Mary Kay taught us never to quit, never give up. And so when I signed on, became a consultant, got so excited. I loved the idea of working with people, teaching and sharing. So I literally built a unit the very next year in 1978. I became a director in April 78 for the first time. But in 2 or 3 years after that, I went through a horrific divorce, lost confidence in myself. I earned a pink car, by the way, in that same time, because when they first sold the Cadillac, I couldn't see that far. But when they brought out the mid-level car, which is now to you guys different than when I came, the first one was a pink Buick Regal, if you can believe that. And when they brought that level, I said, I can do that. And so literally I earned a pink Buick Regal in that very first year. But in that 2 or 3 year span after 78, I lost everything. The unit, the car, the marriage, and it was just devastating. However, the people you meet along the way are the most important people in your career, Mary Kay, those who believe in you. Now, I did write notes. Sometimes I forget to use them, but I want to share with you about that part of my career because Mary Kay has a program that no other company has in direct sales in the world I know of, and it's called the Adoptee Program. That sincerely is a thing that you do when you have a heart turned toward God. Many people did not want to have adoptees. Mary Kay taught that. And Lenny Wood Stewart, who's now a national emeritus, adopted me. But the gift that she gave me was she was an offspring of National Sales Director Emeritus Ruel Cohn, who was the first national of color. And I got to be in Ruel's space. And somehow one day, Ruel told Lenny that she thought that little Betty Bridges was going to be something one day. Mind you, I was just there doing, what consultants do, but being grateful because the adopted director I knew didn't get paid for me. So everything that she said, I did. And Ruel, when she said that during my time of failure, when I had lost everything and didn't think that I could do this, I kept remembering that Lenny said, Ruel said, that I would be something one day. Those words gave me confidence. So sometimes when a person speaks into your life, listen to it, believe, because they can see gifts that you don't think that you have. And so long story short, of course, I requalified as a director in 1987 to become a national sales director. We earned our very first Cadillac in 1995. What this business can give you is so much more than just money. Of course, you do become millionaires. That is I think the outcome of your giving and sharing. Mary Kay always taught us, and this is what I said to you when I failed forward. She said that attitude is everything, and that you can do everything wrong with a great attitude and succeed, and everything right with a bad attitude and fail. Here am I, because I can tell you one of the things that I thank God that He blessed me with was a great attitude. And I love the fact that we had a chance to give any woman who wanted to a chance to be at home with her children. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. We grew up in the South on a farm, but she was there. And so that's what I wanted for my children. However, my degree was in business, and most jobs that I had were jobs around men. It was very strict, and I had to be there so often. So my dream was being in business for myself. Now, mind you, I said no to the Mary Kay opportunity because I didn't understand it. All of the joys over the years of building this business, my greatest joy was to be able to be home with my children and to be able to take them to school and pick them up. I became the mom who picked up all of the kids. My son played basketball, my God. So I had 4 or 5 big guys in my car in the pink Cadillac every day bringing them home. But that's because I had the opportunity to be there. And the other moms always wondered how that worked. Now, I want to share with you guys, because I know it's important, that right now, during the times that we're in, with the pandemic and what happened in our world, that many directors, and my own daughter, I must say now, we have 2 children. Our daughter, Brandy, has actually taken over my business. I was able to give her that as we retired. That's an honor and a blessing. And during the pandemic, though, as outgoing as she is and really technical, I thought she would have embraced the online, the Zoom parties and all of that. She did great. She taught others how to do the Zoom, but I think I grilled so much into my people that Mary Kay is a people business and that we love the face-to-face. She didn't accept the Zoom, parties as well, and sort of had a step back, plus other things that happened in her life. But one of the best things about Mary Kay and the business that you have is that you're the boss. You're the only person that holds you back or moves you forward. And right now you may be in a slump. Sometimes as leaders we do. And with all the changes that we've had, so I moved down 5 things that I think would be really helpful for you in getting yourself, as I call it, jump started. Of course, you have to know from 77 to 87, I had to get a jump start.
I'm playing in here, but I don't see your wallet.
Hi, Patty Oakley. I think your speaker is on. Thank you. But one of the greatest things I can share with you about getting yourself back in where you want to be or further is number one, remember why you started this business. Has anyone ever thought about that right now where you are? And I do want to make sure that we will have time for question and answers. I'm sure that you have allowed that for us today. But I want you to write down things that you may be challenged with now, because no matter what level we're in, we go through life and life happens. And when it does, it gives us sometimes a challenge. So if you can think for yourself where you are right now, what questions you may have, I'd like to let you know, number one, you're not alone. There are many people who are going through. The lessons I learned in Mary Kay and failing forward, I want to share with you, are powerful. And one of the first things that I can share is to never major in minors, in minimums. Unit size is the key no matter what level you're in, because unit size makes a difference. In the early stages of my career, there were times when I literally majored in minors. I used to say that minimums, that I was okay. I would make leadership conference every year and make sure I had 50 unit size because they recognized the 50. But I wasn't focusing on what could happen for the consultants. When you are a Cadillac sales director, your people are so excited. It gives them a greater feel. Because I had said, as I always read all of the company rules, it never said back in the day, and I want you to know I'm way back in the day. Some of you guys weren't born when I started Mary Kay, I'm sure. And so there was no requirement to be a Cadillac sales director to become a national sales director. When that dream was born of seeing Ruel Cohn and wanting to be a national, that was not a requirement. So I never had a desire to be a Cadillac sales director. However, when you help people along the way get what they want, you will get everything that you want. That was one of Mary Kay's famous saying, help enough people get what they want, and you will get what you want. And so that was my motto. I was going to make sure that every consultant who wanted to could earn a free car, because think about it. No insurance, no car note is always added back to your income. And then the next thing about that, I listened to a sales promotion trainer, motivational speaker named Les Brown. As a matter of fact, I met Les Brown years ago. Before Les started and became the famous guy that he is today, he actually came to one of my Mary Kay meetings when I was a new director years ago, and he charged $5 per person. Can you imagine? Now he makes $10,000 per hour. And he shared with us, but one thing he said, when life knocks you down, always work to land on your back. Because if you can look up, you can get up. So no matter where you are right now, if your unit is faltering, if you're not really feeling too excited about where you are, don't worry about it, because it will change, okay? That's the one thing. And the second thing I thought about is hitch your wagon to a star. Now, when I became a new consultant, the year that I went to seminar, and I went because Lenny Woods, the adopted director, said, you have to go, it will change your life. Now, mind you, I thought my life was great, so why could it change? However, I listened and I went to seminar, and I got the vision of sales directors debuting on stage. When that happened, I had been in the company 4 or 5 months. I hadn't done anything great. I hadn't even become at that time a Golden Goblet consultant, which is today a star consultant. I hadn't done very much, but I wanted to go. When I got there, I told my director, who lived in Texas and I lived in Detroit, in Chicago, from Detroit, that I wanted to be a director and debut on stage the next year. Well, she didn't sort of believe that I would do that because I hadn't done anything. And she sort of patted me on the lap and said, that's very nice. But see, that wasn't her dream. That was mine. And so when I hitched my wagon to the star that year, National Sales Director Emeritus of all people, I love her today, Arlene Lenars, was the number one director in the company. And she, on that stage, shared where she had been over her career and how she had built. And I said, wow. I watched her. I read everything that she wrote, every speech that she wrote, every training, and literally did whatever she said do. And I recall her saying these words, and many of you are not there now. I'm not sure if you're back holding face-to-face meetings or doing Zooms, but sometimes the attendance at the success event falls down. Am I correct? The numbers are not there. And Arlene always said that if you are at the point where you are in the success event, or your sales meeting, whatever you call it, she said, and it's like an oil painting. The same 5 people, the same 5 faces are there. She said, it's up to you to change that. Mm-hmm. And always, she said, get a gold medal and it'll change your life. And I thought, wow, if she said it, I was right. So I went for a gold medal. The most important thing is that the people who are following you are believing on what you're believing. So if you're a little bit concerned and not excited anymore, they are thinking worse than you are. So your goal right now would be, if you at that point and you see the same 5, 10 faces and they're not really excited or moving, number one, you get a gold medal. That will change your life. And that'll be done by a party. I'll discuss that later on. But number two, when they see the excitement of you bringing people on board, they'll think, well, if she's doing it, maybe I can too. You are the success for your people. They strive to be where you are. And as you develop and grow and build, then some will want to challenge you and pass you by. Wouldn't that be great? Because there's no levels of anybody making it. Can you imagine having an Offspring sales director say, I'm getting my Cadillac, and you're still in the second level? Won't that make you feel great? Because my father was a teacher as well. I came from a long line of teachers. And he taught us one thing that I remembered as teaching. He said, the greatest compliment any person that you're training or teaching can do for you is to surpass what you have done. Mm-hmm. So because I wanted to be able to help my people, it didn't bother me if some of my people got further faster than me. The key is I wasn't sitting still waiting on them so that it didn't happen. But the most important thing to know is teach them. You want them to do better. They're your children. If Mary Kay built the company in the concept of us being her daughters, then our children are the consultant and Offspring directors. You want them to fare better than you. Mm-hmm. Okay, the next thing I thought about, and I made lots of notes. I didn't know which time, but I know that I can always stop if I need to. So if I get too far, let me know, Kristen, okay? The third thing that I learned, and this one I don't even know, is become your own competitor. We don't compete with anyone else but ourselves. Work to always beat your best. I think National Sales Director Kathy Goff-Bromett, who was the numbers person, thought about if you just each month strive to do 10% better than you did the month before, in a year's time you will have exceeded 100% improvement. My original national sales director was Ruby Lee Mills. She's of course at Emeritus right now as well. And one of the things that I learned, and I'll talk about later on if you have questions about it, whatever, is the personality profile. My original personality style was an I. And when I took the first test, my I personality was off the chart and my C was off the bottom. So I was just a mess, you could call it. I loved helping people, loved being excited, thought everyone should like me because I like them, because I just love people. And doing that, I should have to say that when I was working in business, I had lots of fun in the first 10 years, I guess, but I wasn't being focused. I wasn't having systems in place. And we moved and earned a car, even with that, because numbers make a difference. And that is why I'm sharing when you beat your best each month, even if you're at $7,000 or $8,000 or $10,000, do 10%, $11,000 the next month. Over a year's time, you will have 120% improvement. Actually, when Ruby Lee Mills did every year in our area, a most improved director. And when I finally caught on to, and I'll share this, knowing what to do, and that's the next step, is that knowing what to do and not doing it is like that old saying that if you keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results, that you're acting insane. That's the definition of insanity. That's what I did in those first few years, which is why the failure came. We always know, Mary Kay said, when you want to make a difference, look in the mirror and tell the boss, because you're the boss. And I had to work on Bettye Bridges. It wasn't always little things that I did that weren't happening because the numbers were there many times. But there was no structure for them. And so when I think about do what you know to do, Mary Kay's famous words, plan your work and work your plan. And I literally think of the blessing that it came because Mary Kay, in that process, taught me so much about managing time and managing me, which is the time, that actually in the last couple of years after I retired, my church asked me to teach a class on, of all things, and I love the word to this day, fruitful time management. So that I actually wrote a book about it because as people of God, women of God, we have to be fruitful with our time. It doesn't mean that every single second of your day is mapped out, but the time you spend working on yourself is more important. So I learned about the personality profile, the DISC, because I wanted to know why I was doing the things that I was doing and I wasn't getting where I wanted to go. So after coming back on that second time around as a director, I started doing the things that I knew to do. I did my plan and worked my plan. Because see, you can learn things, but knowledge alone is not power, I learned. Okay? It's the application of the knowledge that is power. God has always blessed me. I felt that Mary Kay has been a calling on my life. Like I said, and Christian shared with you, I'm a teacher by calling, I know, and profession. I did teach school. However, many times when I was working at Mary Kay, I realized that I couldn't give up even though I wanted to, because it was a stronger will of me to do it. And I know now it was the calling of God. When I first moved to Detroit, to a new area from Chicago where I started out, my sister, who was the professional shopper who referred me to the lady, worked at a hospital. And I used to go literally to meet her for lunch a couple times a week. But in so doing, it was to meet people. Warm chatter was the way that I made it, because that's what Lenny Wood Stewart and Ruel taught us. And so I would meet her for lunch. On the way into the hospital and on the way out, I would have 15 or 20 leads, because while she was doing whatever she was doing, I was meeting people. But I share that to say that when you plan your work and then work your plan, I was always getting leads, but I wasn't following up. I mean, these are little things, but the word says it's the little foxes that spoil the vine. Many times we don't think about the fact that we know what to do. It's just getting ourselves to do it. That's the motivational part. And motivation is an inside job, as we all know. And you're not going to hear anything new today, because we know that nothing new under the sun. However, sometimes we have to be reminded. God knows what he's put in us as women. And we do have a major responsibility, because we are the helpmeets to the men who run the world. I used to tell my consultants that, and this is not a put down, it's a fact. Women raise the men who run the world. So we are very powerful in God's eyes. We have a place. And we know that many things that we know how to do, we're not doing sometimes, because we're bogged down with so much other. That is why when you take the time to plan your work and work your plan, you will have, I think, a more successful career in Mary Kay and in life, because parenting takes time as well. Okay? Being a mother, a wife, takes time. But when you learn to put those things in perspective, your business doesn't take as much time as we think it does. Okay? That was my third point. I think I started with to never give up, hit your wagon to a star, become your own competitor, and then do things that you know to do. Because many times you've been trained properly and you know, but it gets old. And one thing, before I go to the fifth one, Ruby Lee Mills taught one thing that I always learned. And the reason I share with you about the DISC is to let you know that sometimes we think we can't learn from someone because their personalities are so different. The high I personality, Betty Bridges, and I want you to know I worked on her, but Ruby was a total SC. And she was so quiet. And Mary Kay said years ago, when Ruby became a national sales director, or director first time, Mary Kay said that she was so shy that she was afraid she couldn't lead a group in silent prayer. Think about that, okay? A silent prayer. Ruby became a national sales director and had a record in the company that was kept for so many years. But my mind said she was demure and she was not like me, so I wouldn't try the things that she tried. Of course, that was wrong, and I learned that in those first 10 years as well. But what she did do that I've never forgotten is that being the shy person that she was, she wanted to overcome her shyness, but she also held a company record with the largest number of new personal recruits in the company for years. And that's what I'm going to share with you now for your unit size. And one of the things that she always promoted that I learned to do later on is that she did, and each one reached one promotion. And she did it for, as she said to us, you can't do it for 1 month and think it's going to work, because that 1 month, the consultants are getting ready to think about it. They're looking at it and deciding if they want to do it. The second month, they're thinking, that was a good idea. How many of you directors have done a promotion and the consultants didn't catch on to it? And then you thought a couple months and then you went, that happens because, see, you have to do it more than 1 or 2 months. Ruby taught me that, and I learned so much from her, Ruel, and the National School, and Arlene, because as I started to study the things that I was not doing, first off, when you announce a promotion to your consultants, they get excited about it, but they're busy with their lives, and then they say, maybe I'll do it next month. Because remember, your unit has D's, I's, S's, and C's. The D's do the work, remember, okay? The D's have the ideas. The I's do the work. The S's, okay? The I's sell. The S's do the work, and then the C's check the S's work, all right? You have all that personality in your unit. If you don't, then that could be partly why you're not going where you want to go. I learned that every personality has their own success ability. And if you don't like the personality you are, you can change. That's the one thing that John Maxwell said, if you're not satisfied with you, you can change you. You can't change anybody else. So when I realized that my eye was not helping me, I had to work on her and develop some other ideas. So what I learned to do is, first off, is do what Ruby said, because she was successful and I wasn't where she was yet. Okay. So I started to each one reach one promotion. And then Mary Kay always said, give people a place where they can win. She said, give every consultant a place to win. Mary Kay told a story about one of the nationals years ago. Darlene, the very first two nationals, and I'm sorry, but I'm young and my mind doesn't hold thoughts right now, but this is a very important story. She said she came out of her, back in the day when they first started, the national directors or sales directors met at the training center at the Mary Kay offices in Dallas. And Mary Kay said she came out of the room and she watched this director who was praising a consultant for having held one party and made, I think, $40. And Mary Kay said she stood there and she listened to it, but she didn't want to bother her while she was Helen McBoy, praise God, that's her name, Helen McBoy. She said, Helen, after the young consultant left, she said, why were you praising her for a $40 party? And all of a sudden, Mary Kay said, Helen said, well, Mary Kay, the last time she had a party, it was $7. So she had improved. Little things make a difference. Every consultant is different. Everyone is going through different things in their lives. But understand that each person needs a place to win. So recognize them for where they are. It may not be in your success event when you have a consultant who has said she can't get to the success event, and all of a sudden she arrives and she's there. You may just give her a hand of applause and say, let's just give Kristen a big hand. She made it to the success event tonight. And they'll probably say, what is that about? It's not for them, it's for her, because you're making her feel better. Now, I know that we all know this one thing that Mary Kay always said, meet each person and treat them as if they have a large sign that says, make me feel important. So that's important. But also, because you're going to recognize, you still have to grow the team. So let's get back to this each one, reach one. Now, I am still some eye, so once in a while the eye gets scattered, so just forgive me, okay? But this is one of the most successful things I ever did, and it grew my unit exponentially, okay? But remember, you don't do it 1 month. You find a gift to give every single consultant just for getting one new person. That is not the way the program works, though. If you do a flyer, you'll say, our goal this month is to have 10, 15, 20, however many you want, new team members this month. And so what we're going to do is we're going to have a gift for every consultant who gets one new person. Okay? Remember, the masses are better. More comes from the group than from one. You're going to always have and I'll share Mary Kay's training on that later on. But when you have a gift, a beautiful scarf, or something that wouldn't cost you more than $5, you can get from your wholesalers, okay? As a gift just for having one new team member. It may sound like a lot. And then you can say, when we have our 15 unit members, I will have this gift. You choose what you want for 15 new in 1 month. I would recommend no less than 10, but you want to stretch some. Okay, 10 is growth. 15 will give you what you want. And the first month, it's not going to happen in most cases. If you're not producing regularly, it won't happen. That's why the second month, everyone got so excited about it, we're running it again next month. And then the consultants who thought about it were going to do it are ready. Okay, and then the second month, you run it again. Same thing, same gifts. If some consultants earned it the month before, give them a different gift for their one recruit. I know you have wholesalers, you can get nice gifts and things for $2, $3, but make that gift that they have just for getting one so that everybody is winning, okay? The second month, you may hit 8 or 9, even 10, but the goal is 15. So the large gift that you're giving could be a great purse, something that your consultant would want, your own unit, okay? And then the third month, you're going to be surprised because now you've had, say, 7 recruits, and then you have 9, and now you're going to have 15 or more. 3 consecutive months of growth. Remember, Mary Kay said 10 is growth, 5 is maintaining. So you never want to settle for 5 unless you go milling yourself, okay? And think about that. I'm sure Christian will give you ideas. You may have your own ideas of a gift you can do. I would suggest running that promotion. This is September now, so October, November, and December. Think about 15 new team members in December. Or 20, because what may happen is those first 2 months, those consultants who were recruiting will get very excited. And then they will, those next 2 months, maybe get your red jacket or team leader or further on. whatever goals they have. That promotion, I would challenge you. Ruby Lee did it every single month. And after the second thing she did, after that one, she would do a 30-day recruiting. It was really be a monthly recruiting program. And she would tell the consultant, after you complete, I would say no less than 3 months of the each one reach one, then I would do I call the Ruby Lee Meal Special. And she would do a monthly recruiting promotion where every consultant in the unit agreed to get a recruit on a certain day. She would take the 30 days because what she wanted to do was get 30 people in a month. And so she would take the calendar. Now, if your unit is over 50 already, you've got 30 people, okay? And you may only need 15. Some consultant will take 2 days. You actually get a calendar. The desk calendar, I think, is the best, a large one. And you call the consultants up, or as you share at the meeting and tell them about the goals, say, now, who can I get for the first of the month who got to recruit? Now, they're talking to people all the time now because of each one reach one. So they got prospects, okay? And then when they sign up on the day that they want to get their recruit, somebody will say, well, let me give the 5th because I've got a girl and she's not quite ready. Doesn't matter. You want a name on each of those dates. In the meantime, remember, you're your own backup. So you are the person who is now going to be putting down notes for yourself. And you're still working to get the gold medal, remember, as the leader. Now, Mary Kay shared something years ago that I always use, and I taught my consultants and directors to use who became leaders, that in your unit, no matter what size your unit is, the key is that when it gets larger, it doesn't matter because numbers count. But she said you spend your time as a director. You have a third, she said, who are new coming in, a third who are working, and a third who are quitting every single day. They may not be quitting from on roll, but they're not coming to meetings, they're not doing anything. And that happens. That's the way that the business works. A third, okay? Those were her famous words, and we lived by them. And I always thought about the numbers, and literally, I would always take the third of my third and count on them, okay? However, when it came to your time, she said, you spend 45% of your time with the consultants who are working, 45% with the new people. Isn't that sad? So that leaves 10% for everybody else. Now, as women and as leaders of women, sometimes we tend to, particularly the I personalities. If you don't know your personality style, I do those workshops, and I'll be happy later on if Kristen would like me to do one. But we tend to work with people that we like, don't we? That's human nature, because you just like her, she's like you, and all that kind of thing. However, sometimes you miss your people who are producing because you do that. And I learned that the very hard way as well. So Mary Kay taught us. Now you guys don't get the I had a page that, even though my daughter has my unit, has her own unit in mine, I still have the pages from people. And so I work with her. She thinks I'm her assistant sometimes. Don't tell her that, okay? But when Mary Kay taught us that you can go online, and if you want to, like me, I'm a hands-on person, I print out my unit consultants list. Because back then, we didn't have the computers like you guys have now, all the great access. And so what Mary Kay said was, take your unit and the production. And she said, cover the names, because when we like somebody, we're going to work with them, and look at the productivity of the person. And she said, and work with those. That's how you know who your 45% are working. When they're placing an order, and the company may have a different stat now, but years ago they said that an average consultant ordered every other month. I'm like, average? So you have consultants who order every month because they're working their businesses. And if that's the case, then look at that list and then talk to those consultants. You can move them up. Your star consultants, of course, are stars because they have goals. Many consultants don't, other than having money for the household. But when you can show them ways to get what they want, you will get what you want, okay? Now, I know I've gone on with a lot of things, and I don't want to hold you too long. But in looking at that 45, and 10%, that was difficult for me because I like people, and I didn't want to make anyone feel bad. So also remember, Mary Kay taught us, and this is what I've always used when you're talking to your people. She said, my love for you is unconditional, but my time is not, okay? It's very important. If they're not working their business or doing it, particularly coming to your success events or getting on your Zooms, they're not actually needing your help. And you can say to them, I can tell you right now, I love you all, but I'll work with you based on what your dreams and desires are, okay? The last thing I will say that I think is important in my points of getting back is to believe in yourself. Faith is an action word. And we know the word says faith without works is dead. Okay? So I'll leave you with a challenge for you personally. No matter how much you work your business or how long you've been here, when you hold appointments, it makes a difference. So the bottom line is now for you, if you've not held 3 to 5 parties, nowadays because of the time and different, 3 to 5 parties in a week. And during my time, we didn't use the word parties, okay? We use beauty shows. So Mary Kay says we show people how to look beautiful. And so one of the things that I learned that I forgot the national director who said that, but she said we're in the show business. We show people how to look beautiful, okay? And so holding shows is our business. So you're showing people the same way, whether on Zoom or face-to-face, how to look beautiful and take care of their skin. So you are the catalyst. I would challenge you as the leader of your unit to schedule yourself a 3 to 5 party week for 2 to 3 consecutive weeks in a row, because consistency is the key. Now, back in our day, we did 5 parties in a week, okay? And that's magic. Because think about it like this, and this is the last thing I'll share, and then I'll allow questions if that's okay with you, Christian, okay? 5 success events in a week, or parties in a week. Think about this. Normally, now with the Zoom, you can have just 10 or 15 people on your Zoom party, right? In our time, we had 6 people. But you have 5 times 6 people, there's 30 people you're seeing in a week. Mm-hmm. At every single success event, Mary Kay taught us, and I said these words. Mary Kay said to us that at every party we hold, or I said beauty show, there's always a consultant. And I'm looking forward to finding out who it is tonight. What happened when you say that is that there's someone there who's thinking she can do what you do and she likes it. And then there's one that you want to select. So you got 2 prospects from that party right away. The one you want and the one who wants you, okay? You can tell how they watch you, how they offer to help you during the success event. And I don't know if you guys have had dealt this, I'm sure you have. Every party you have sometimes a heckler, someone who just really came because a girlfriend asked her to come and she didn't want to be there. Those sometimes are the best people to work with. So you'll learn that. But think about it, you got 30 new customers in a week, minimum. Okay, you may have more based on what happens. But in a month, that means you have 4 times that. You have 120 people. Those are prospects. Those are people who can heal the opportunity. I always invited my hostess to the next event up because Mary Kay said to do that. Okay, when you go there, she said, if you come to the success event and you don't have 2 people on your arm, you're going nowhere. That may sound crazy. Mary Kay was very basic and very to the point. And that gave me, I think, excuse me, an opportunity to learn about myself. But like I said, we all see things differently. But when Mary Kay said, if you show up at that success event and you don't have 2 guests with you, you're cheating women who may need the opportunity, okay? Because you don't know what they're going through. Sometimes they get to the success event or even on a Zoom and they say, wow, they had lots of fun tonight. That was really nice. That girl won a ring, whatever. That changes a woman's mindset. Because even though we all have our lives and we work in different ways, everyone wants to feel important, okay? And Kristen, I'm going to stop there because it's 20 minutes to 10 and allow for any questions. I would like to share one last thing though, because if you're in a situation right now where the unit is not where you want it to be and you're not where you want it to be and getting started is difficult, Mary Kay also taught us about attitude. Remember about the good and bad attitude? But one of my consultants years ago, because I talked about attitude so much, she found this little thing for me. Attitude is 100%. We hear that all the time, don't we? But I'm going to prove it to you right now. Okay? If you will take the words, the letters in the word attitude and write them down in horizontal. Horizontal is up and down, right? I'm not that good, okay? And write ATTITUDE. And then across from that, write where that letter falls in the alphabet. A is 1, okay? T is 20, so you have 2 20s. I is 9, another T that's 20. U is 21, D is 4, and E is 5. If you add that up, it comes to 100%. That's amazing. Attitude literally is everything. So cool. So your attitude about where you are now, where you want to go, is the only thing that's going to help you to get out of the spot you're in, wherever you are. Mm-hmm. I literally failed forward to success. The blessing is that I made it a point to do things in a way that I felt God would want me to. Back in the day when I was a director developing my unit, there were people who told my consultants I shouldn't talk about God at my meetings. And I said, I don't know how else I would live, because it's God who keeps me where I am, God who gave me the opportunity. So sometimes you're going to meet with challenges you don't understand. I thank God every day for a great attitude, because I believe that he put me in Mary Kay for a reason. And my only desire is that someone will be blessed by my story and what I did in the business. Because coming a national sales director was my dream, and God made it happen through my being willing to push past all of my failures. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, Bettye, you are such an amazing teacher and speaker. And so we are just blessed immensely by your presence this morning and your words and your lessons. And thank you for sharing all of those wonderful lessons with us. So I know that everyone's going to have their favorite takeaways or questions, but who wants to start by just affirming your favorite things that Bettye shared this morning?
I'll go.
Hey, Bridget.
Oh my goodness, my heart and head are about to explode. I'm getting emotional, Bettye. You made me emotional. You pulled my heartstrings. I felt like I just had a conversation with Mary Kay Ash and my grandmother, all in like one setting. You remind me so much of my mamaw. And thank you for everything that you said. I mean, literally, I took pages and pages of notes, but I mean, there's so much that I just want to say, but I'm so thankful for Ruel, I think was her name, that spoke belief in you those many years ago, that you could speak to us today. And we really do have the power in Mary Kay to change lives.
You're making me get emotional now. Thank you.
So you have touched me so deeply today, and I just feel like we were cut from the same cloth, because I so related to your story. I'm a high I, and I've been in Mary Kay 9 years, and it's taken me about 10 years to fix this hot mess. And I'm just so blessed by you today, and so thankful. Bettye Bridges is my new favorite person in the whole world. I'm just so thankful I was on this Zoom today.
Thank you so much, Bridget. God bless you.
Thank you.
And you can do this, okay?
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, Bridget. Oh, I'm crying still. I'm over here scanning the eyes. Oh my gosh. I love it, because this is what it's about, touching each other's souls, touching each other's hearts, and believing into people when sometimes you don't believe in yourself, or you just need that reminder. Like you said, right, Bettye, the information is always there. The truth is always there. Yeah. But we put it under a bushel basket, or we dig it in a hole and we bury it, and so you have helped us to, open those things up. Mm-hmm. So who else will share? Okay.
I'm emotional too this morning.
Hi, Bettye. Good morning. How are you?
How are you? I feel just like Bridget. I feel like that I've just had a session with my grandmother and Mary Kay Ash, and just grateful that you were able to speak from a place of I fell down, but I got back up.
Amen.
Because if you didn't get back up, then we wouldn't get to hear from you today.
Thank you so much.
And some of the things that you said, I know that you said at the feet of Mary Kay Ash. That is priceless.
Yes, it is.
And I really loved how you gave another thought to the each one reach one promotion.
Okay.
I had never heard it that way before.
That was good.
And it was just a blessing just to hear you today, to hear your soul, and to hear your truths today, Bettye.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for your time. I know you didn't have to be here today, and we're just very touched by you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Oh, you guys have me crying now.
No, I think Angie's right. We had heard the term, each one reach one, but I don't know if it's just years between like who created that promotion and what did it really look like to 10, 20, 30 years down the road. We didn't know that it was 3 months long and that you got to keep going, and it may seem little to you, Bettye, but there's a reason why it worked back then. And what we need to do, we know the 90-day we know that 90 days, it takes everything to, it takes time. But I think that is great. I love that Mary Kay asked Donna like she just had such a standard.
Oh my goodness.
She just had she loved you, but she was a businesswoman.
Oh yes. She wouldn't allow you to, I guess, in a sense, complain or I told a funny story once. When the eyes are bleeding hearts, when everybody make it and whatever. And I ran into Mary Kay. I got to meet her my very first year. Being a big talker, I just thought when I saw her, I was going to tell her all these things. And, eyes are never where they need to be. So I was running to the bathroom from that seminar. And there was Mary Kay. And I ran up to her and I just was I'm going to tell her all these things, that I was going to do. All I did was cry. I couldn't get a word out. Wow. Literally, that blew my mind. That's why her presence, and she just took me by, her famous thing. She put her hand on my. She said, "You're going to be a national one day." And I cried harder. That's all I did. I didn't get to say any word to her at all. It's a beauty. I know. But then the next year I became a director. And she came to Chicago, and I said to Mary Kay, I said, "Mary Kay, I'm talking to all these people and trying to get them to see this business, and some of them I said are even on welfare and that." And I said, "They don't want." She said. And again, her hand on my face, she said, "We try to save the world. Sometimes people don't want to be saved." That was so profound, but it directed me. Don't try to get people who don't want it. And National Sales Director Emeritus Judy Kubicki said, "Some will, some won't. So what next?" That's what Mary Kay said in a nice way. She had a way of, it's what she taught us, sandwiching her criticism between two layers of praise. To say I was going to be a national, all I was doing was crying, But she said that, so I could never not get to national because Mary Kay said I was going to be a national.
So good.
Go figure, right?
But it was that belief, Bettye, too. I mean, she gave that immense belief.
Yes.
To you. Yeah. And I can tell that you have just like this sense of responsibility to take care of the vision of Mary Kay and the legacy of Mary Kay. And we want to, I think that responsibility, we're okay with that word. Like, we like that word, but I know like it has kind of a negative connotation to other people or out there and of the world. Yeah. But we understand that is important. And when you talked about that standard, I'm glad that you said 3 to 5 parties a week, for 2 to 3 consecutive weeks. And she said, you said, Bettye, well, we did 5 a week.
Yes, we did. And it was expected. It was expected of us. And because Mary Kay said it. Once Mary Kay did a 10-show week because people kept saying they couldn't do one. Now, mind you, I've only done 10-show weeks probably twice in my career. But just think of what 10 parties would do for you right now in your life. Even if, and most of the directors make great money, so it's never probably a money situation, but think of 10 parties. The average parties now are $300.
At least, yeah.
That's $3,000 a week. And many of my consultants and directors have parties 500 or more. But just think of 10 in a week. One of my directors years ago, and she never became a Cadillac director, because I challenged her. I said, if you would do 10 parties in a week and call me back, and then I can help you get your Cadillac. And she just didn't do it. She wouldn't. So that's why I took her down to 5. I said, do 5. Parties are the way Mary Kay built this because women are emotional beings in that sense, but we love celebrating together. And if you're not getting together with them and showing them, letting them have fun, because you don't know what they're coming from at home.
Right.
Like Mary Kay said, if I can just help one woman feel better about herself, it'll make a difference. I'm sorry, I'm talking.
No, it's good. We love to hear it, Bettye. And we're doing parties. I mean, we're all the ones on here. I mean, we're doing parties in person, and we can see people gathering together at the table, and they do cut up. And I guess Debbie and I and were together on Friday. I don't remember now, Debbie, but. There was a stranger that just moved to town, and she had been here for 2 months, and before she left, she had 6 people's phone numbers, some people that she, new friends in a new place, and that's the additional gift that we have to give people if we'll have a party.
That's right, because you don't know how you bless people by doing parties. Okay, I'll stop.
No, I love it.
I love it.
Tell us the name of your book and how we can buy it.
Oh, bless your heart. Thank you so much. The book is called It's About Time. And it literally is. It's very small. It's not long. It's to the point. It's a Kingdom Woman's Guide to Fruitful Time Management. It is on Amazon and Barnes & Noble.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I even did a workshop.
I'm so proud of you, Bettye.
Thank you. It literally is God's doing. I want you to know. I had a book in mind myself that I thought I was going to write, and it was in my heart. And my son and daughter, praise God, they were Mary Kay children all their lives, and it's a great thing. I must say that, share with you guys, this company does so much for you and with your children. My daughter, is a Mary Kay director, of course, now. And our son is a little businessman. He's a salesperson from his heart, because my husband and I were both in sales. And when the pandemic happened, he said, Mom, you can write that book now. And so I thought to myself, this is a good idea. Maybe I'll do it, because you were home a lot, right? And so I sat down and I was getting ready to work on what I thought was going to be my book. And it's like I heard the Lord say, you have a book already written. And I want to say, who said that? Because it just fell in my spirit. And so I said,
Fell in my spirit.
So the background, as you'll read in the book, is that I literally, in my church, of course you work in church, whatever they ask you to do. And we came back from our trip in 2018. And my pastor, one of the associate ministers called his Sister Bridges, Pastor wants you to teach a 12-week class, he said, and it's on fruitful time management. I said, well, okay, great. I said, do you have an outline for me? And he said, I'll check for you and I'll call you back. The next day he called back, he said, Sister Bridges, I'm sorry, Pastor said there's no outline, and he wants your outline in 2 weeks. And I thought to myself, okay, as a person, when you're working in the church, you don't say no to the pastor if he asks you to do something. And so I said, okay. And so I wrote out the outline for the 12 weeks. And then, of course, organized my classes and typed it up and had it ready and presented it. I had a great response. And so that's the book. The Lord said, you've got that book.
Wow.
We need that. And I said, oh, goodness, Lord. And then I sat down and started to write. And that's how the book, it literally is from, I believe, God's giving me this desire. Because in Mary Kay, time and money were the things that I taught most of my people. Because if you take the time, you can make the money. But people say they don't have time because they're not organized. And so when I sat down to do this, and I thought about it, I said, the first off, and I'll tell you on the back, I said, encouragement in your journey. As much as we can't simply find more time. It is a finite and constantly diminishing resource. We each have 24 hours in a day, no matter our status in life. I have always found that thought to be comforting, because that makes time the great equalizer. It's what you do in the 24 hours that makes the difference. Wherever you are in life, please know that you have a choice. So always choose wisely. And I did the workbook because I did it for the body of Christ. And then the pastor's wife, my pastor, and one of my leaders at church, who has a 501c3, told me, she said, this is not just for the people in the church. I said, well, she said, the people in your business can use it. I said, well, I'll see. Because my main thing was I never wanted to do anything to try and impress people. I wanted to make sure that I was pleasing God. And the Bible says, when a man's ways please God, he makes even his enemies be at peace with him. And I always make sure people know when the Bible says a man's way, he means mankind, we as well. And so my goal was to please God by making sure I did what my pastor said. It wasn't about writing a book. But in that, I've had many people share that they love it. It helps them so much because it cuts to the chase. As Mary Kay taught us, don't waste time. She said, dollar time on penny jobs. And sometimes as women, we do. Okay? Your parties are your dollar time. And your penny jobs will be... Mary Kay actually was the reason, and I thank God every day, that I wanted to have a housekeeper. Now, my mom said when I was about 11 years old, I used to complain about doing housework because I said it's the same thing every day. You dust the same table and all. And so I said, when I get grown, I'm going to have a housekeeper. I had no idea that I'd be a part of Mary Kay. That's why I knew it was a calling. And when Mary Kay said, the first thing I heard her say is get a housekeeper because your time is valuable. And I said, oh my goodness, that was my excitement. If you guys want to, the book is very inexpensive. I think it's only about $10.95. And the workbook, I did it for the church, but if you want to use it for your people, it'll be worthwhile, I think. Okay?
Oh, absolutely, Bettye. If I can't find it, I'll get the link. I'll have you message me the link.
I sure will. No
I
problem.
can't find it, so send the link.
Okay.
I can't find it.
Tess, can you share?
Yes, Bettye, thank you so much. It was so good. Everything Bridget and Angie said, I second all that.
Oh.
You gave faith and hope because I'm 54. I've been here 14 years. And it's like everything is going to Canva and a project broadcast and all this fancy technical stuff. And that's not me. And you did not say any of that. You affirmed to me, it's up to me to do the work, me to hold the parties. I know how to do that.
I know.
And so you gave me hope today, and I just ordered 5 of your books.
Oh, bless your heart. Oh,
Where?
thank
On
you
Amazon?
so much. It's so sweet of you. God bless you guys. What that tells me, too, you guys probably are I personalities like me. So I don't know if you have ever studied the DISC program, but it's important that sometimes our personalities hold us back. Now, Bridget, not Bridget, Kirsten, you will help me with, who is the national sales director who made the $1 million in a year? God, it's shameful.
Barbara Sundin?
Barbara Sundin. I'm saying that because Barbara Sundin shared once, and it always affirmed me. She said once, she said she was a staunch C personality.
Yeah.
And she said that once she said in her office, as she studied, so you have to know yourself in order to help yourself. And she said that once when she was working in her office that she was developing, and she was major successful in Richard Stream, but she said to her assistant, we're not doing C today. When she would be in the office trying to get things done, because he sees have to check every single little thing, and she knew what she wanted to get done wasn't going to work. And I say that because I know my I personalities, who are heart, we are emotional, we love people, and we want to do, but we sometimes hold ourselves back.
Yeah.
So if you have not ever had a presentation of the DISC, Christian, I do them, and I would love to share, because it's so important that we understand that we are who God made us, but there are times in that training where it says, in order to be more effective, this person needs to do this. And that was where my challenge was. There's a test you take with the program, and it's like a chart. The D, the I, the S, and the C. Literally, my D, I was an ID, okay, which was critical because we don't like doing anything but talk and have ideas, and other folk do the work. So the S and C are the workers. So we have to make sure that we balance ourselves. And see, Mary Kay had a saying that I now know. All of the things that we've learned, Mary Kay knew it, but she knew it from her perspective. Same thing. She said years ago to us, you don't ever want to be so high they have to pull you off the ceiling, or so low they have to pull you off the floor. You want to be balanced. And so I found that balance in studying the DISC program. And for Barbara to say that, even that was years, I was a national by then, but it helped me to realize that you need each personality in different times. So what Mary Kay said is become all of it. There are times when I know my D has to be there. As your directorship, you're a leader, you're a D. That D comes out because you take charge. Okay? The I's are the ones who love the people no matter how they act. And, sometimes you want to slap them, but you hug them and love them anyway. That's the I personality, because we just love people. The S is the ones that has to get things done. While the D's and I's are running their mouths with their ideas, the S is making sure everybody's together. And the C is the one that's want to make sure no one has made a mistake. Let me make sure they look in the book and find all the typographical errors, because that's what the C personality is. So Barbara understood she couldn't do that day because that wasn't where her focus is. And we want to learn ourselves. For years, I was always quoting this thing about tonight on self be true. Well, you have to know yourself in order to be true to yourself. And that's the process. Okay?
So
all
good.
Right. I'm sorry. Go ahead now.
Oh, no, it's so good.
Oh my gosh,
and
so
Tess,
good.
thank you for sharing all of that, about how this has positively affected you too, Tess, because really without a party, everything starts with a party. Everything starts with a skincare class. And I like how you broke it down, Bettye, where you said, 30 faces a week was just nothing. And we saw 120 a month. And that's how you can grow. That's how you can recruit people.
Yeah.
And so when you're thinking, well, why are my recruiting numbers down? It's just the faces. It's just the faces numbers are down.
That's it.
Yeah.
And that little saying you guys I heard over the faces take you places, it's still